Welcome to part 42 of our series on building a Zelda-like game in Phaser 3. In this video, we'll start building our boss enemy for the dungeon. We'll review the boss state machine, create a new boss class, and wire up the initial boss states and logic. Then we'll spawn our boss into the scene and set up the structure we'll build on in future videos. If you're new here, this is part of a full series where we create a Zelda-inspired game from scratch. Check out the playlist link in the description to start from the beginning. Alright, let's dive in and create our boss enemy. Now that we've wrapped up our UI section, it's time to move on to one of the most exciting parts of our dungeon level, the dungeon boss. This boss will be a unique and challenging enemy designed to test the player's skills and strategy. In typical Zelda-like games, dungeon bosses stand out with their own attack patterns, requiring players to learn and adapt in order to defeat them. Not only will this boss have more health than the regular enemies in the dungeon, but taking it down will signal the completion of the dungeon. So before we start building our new enemy class, let's go over our enemy states. For our boss enemy, when our player first enters into our boss room, our boss won't be immediately visible to our player. We'll start off in our hide state, and after a small delay, we're going to transition to this teleport state. In the teleport state, the boss is going to appear to the player, and then start teleporting around the room into one of three locations. And our boss will repeat this pattern for a small period of time before we transition to our pre-attack state. In our pre-attack state, our boss is going to choose one of those three locations and then appear in that location and get ready to attack our player. We'll have a small delay so our player has a chance to react to our boss appearing before our enemy transitions to our attack state. In our attack state, our boss will attack our player by throwing daggers at our player in the dungeon. For our boss's attack, we're going to throw 3 daggers at our player, and our player needs to dodge those. After our attack state, our boss will then transition to our idle state, where our boss will stand still and give our player a chance to attack them. After a period of time, our boss will transition back to our teleport state, and then we'll repeat this pattern. Now during the fight, once our player actually damages our enemy, we're going to transition to our hurt state, and so we'll have our enemy flash to show we took damage, and then we'll transition back to our teleport state so our enemy can start attacking our player again. Finally, after our boss takes enough damage, we transition to our death state, and this will play a unique animation, and this would signal that our player has completed the dungeon. So now that we've finished reviewing our enemy states, let's jump back over to our code and we'll start adding in our new class. So now back over in our code, let's create our new boss enemy class. For this, let's go into our game objects folder, we'll go under enemies, let's add a new subfolder, we're going to call this boss, and then inside here we'll add in our boss enemy, and we'll call this our Dro. Alright, for our new class, let's copy our code from our Wisp class, we'll paste it in. We'll start off by updating our class name, and so we'll call this Dro. Let's update our configs, we'll do Dro config. Alright, now we'll need to update our imports. For this, I'm going to remove all of my imports except for the phaser import. I'm going to come down to one of our arguments, and I'm going to let my editor add those in. So we're going to do add all missing imports. And now we can update our class. So for our class, let's start with our config. So we're going to want to reference our Dro config. And now for animation configuration, we're going to have 3 main animations. We'll have one for walk, hurt, and idle. So I'm going to copy this code here. I'm going to paste it twice. So first, let's do our walk. So we'll have walk down. Then we'll have walk up, left, right. Just going to copy this. So after walk, we'll have hurt. So we'll have hurt down, up, left, and right. And then we'll have our idle animation. So now for our walking animation, let's copy our animation configuration here. Let's paste this. And now for animation, we're going to do our Dro animation keys. And now we want to do walk down and then walk up, left, and right. We'll want to do repeat to -1 and we'll do ignore if playing. Let's copy that object. And now we'll update our configuration for our walk. And now we'll have walk up. We'll have walk left and then walk right. Now for our hurt animation, we'll use our configuration up here. So let's do our hurt anim config. Now for our reference, we want to do our Dro animation keys. Now we want to do our hit animation. We don't want this one to repeat, and we'll do ignore if playing. We'll update our references here. Now we just need to do our idle animation. For this, we'll have unique keys for each direction. So let's copy our object. Let's update this. Now for animation keys, we're going to have idle down, and then we'll have idle up and idle side. And for this animation, we'll want it to repeat, and we'll have ignore if playing, we'll set to true. So now down in our super call, we want to update our asset keys. So we don't want to do our Wisp, we'll want to do our Dro. We'll have frame 0, let's update our ID, so we'll do Dro, and then our unique ID, as player will be false. Then we'll set is invulnerable, we want to do this to be false, and now we need to add in our config options for things like our speed and our max health. So if we jump over to our config file, so let's copy our settings for our Wisp, We'll paste those in. Now for our variable names, we're going to do our enemy, we'll do boss, let's do draw, we'll have our speed. For our speed, we'll set this to be 80. Next, let's do our max health. So let's copy our boss draw here, we'll update our name, and we'll have our max health. For this, we'll set to be 6. Now for other properties, let's get rid of our scale X and scale Y. And now we'll just update this property here. And so we're going to need a property for our death animation and our duration. So we'll update our name, we'll do enemy boss draw, and we'll do our death animation duration. For this, we're going to set it to 3000 milliseconds. I'm just going to move that to the bottom below our health. Finally, for our enemy, we'll add in one more configuration option. And for our boss, we're going to have a custom pushback for when our boss takes damage from our player. Since our boss is much larger than our other enemies, we're going to have our boss only be pushed back a little bit further. And so we're going to update this to be 50. And so we're going to call this our boss hurt pushback delay. So let's jump back over to our class, and we can update our references. So now we'll have our enemy, our boss draw speed, and then we'll have our enemy, and we'll have our boss draw max health. Now for our boss enemy, we'll want to add in our weapon component. So let's do this, we'll do our weapon component. We'll set that equal to a new weapon component. We'll pass in our boss game object. Let's add this property to our class. Now we'll want to add in our custom states for our boss enemy. So first, let's do our idle state. Let's copy that line of code. We'll want to add in our hurt state and then our death state. Let's do our hurt state. So we'll pass in this, and now we'll do our boss hurt pushback delay. Now we do our death state. So we'll pass in our boss game object, and now we want to do our on-die callback. And for this, we're going to use this to do a custom animation for when our boss dies, just like what we do with our player. So first, we'll want to make sure our game object is visible. So we'll do this, we'll do visible, we'll set it to be true. Now we can use our flash function. For this, we'll pass in our game object, so we'll do this. So once our flash animation is finished, we're going to have our boss disappear from our screen. And for this, we're going to use one of our special effects that are built into our phaser game objects. So for our phaser games, if we're targeting WebGL, our game objects are going to have a bunch of utility functions for using our special effects. One of these is this wipe function here, and what it allows us to do is we'll have this nice effect here where we can have our game object disappear from our screen with this wipe effect. And so to use those effects in our code, we just need to make sure we're targeting WebGL, which we are for our game. So now to add in this special effect, let's do const, we're going to do fx, we're going to set equal to this, we'll reference our game object, we're going to do our post fx, and now from our post fx, we're going to do add wipe. And now in our method, now we can provide options to customize the effect that we're going to do. This will be things for like our wipe width, the direction of our wipe, so if we want it to be up, down, and which axis we want it to be on. For our width, we're going to do 0.1, we'll do 0 for our direction, and then we're going to do 1 for our axis. So now this will add our special effect to our game object, and if we want to create this nice smooth animation here, we need to use a tween to update that property. So now that we have our special effect, we're going to do this, we're going to do our scene. Let's do add, we'll do our tween. Now for our tween configuration, for our targets, we want to do our special effect. We want to set our progress to be 1, and so we're going to start off at 0, and so our game object will be fully visible, and now we're going to tween it to 1, where our game object is completely wiped away. Now for our duration, we're going to reference our enemy boss draw, our death animation duration, and now we'll do our onComplete. And so in our onComplete callback, now we'll hide our game object, and so we'll use that visible, we'll set it to be false. So now that we have our 3 states, now we want to update our starting state, and so we're going to start off in our idle state, and let's remove our custom logic here for our custom animation. So now before we create an instance of our boss enemy, first we need to go into our preload scene, and we'll want to add in our new animations for our boss. So now for our boss animations, these were created in A-Sprite, and so let's copy our line of code here, we're going to paste it, now we'll do our asset keys, and let's reference draw, and now we just need to jump over to our game scene, and now we can create an instance of our boss enemy. So let's go to our method where we create our enemies, and currently we have a to-do for when our tiled object type is set to 3 for where we create our boss enemy. Let's get rid of our to-do. Now we can do const. Let's do our draw. We set it equal to a new draw instance. And now for our configuration, first we'll have our scene. So we'll reference this. And now we'll have our position. And this will be an object. So we'll have our X property. This will be our tiled object, our X. We'll have our Y. And that'll be our tiled object. And then our Y. Now that we have our new boss enemy, we just want to add it to our enemy group. So I'm going to copy this line of code here. Let's paste it. And now we'll add in our boss enemy. And now let's save. So now if we want to verify if our boss is showing up, let's go into our data manager. In our data manager, let's update our starting room ID to be 1 and our starting door ID to be 1. And now when our player appears in our boss room, we'll see our new boss enemy is visible on our screen. So now for our boss enemy, there's a few things we'll want to change. First, we'll want to update our physics body to be more aligned with the actual body of our game object, similar to what we did for our player. And secondly, our boss enemy is supposed to be big and imposing, and so we're going to scale up our game object a little bit. So if we jump back over to our Dro class, let's come down to the bottom of our constructor. First, we're going to scale up our enemy. So we're going to do this. We'll do set scale. And now for our scale factor, we're going to do 1.25. And now we'll want to update our physics body. And so I'm going to jump over to our player class, and I'm going to copy our getter for where we grab our physics body. So let's copy that here. Come back to our Dro. We'll paste that in. So now we can do this. We'll do our physics body. Let's do set size. We'll want to do 12 for our width. We'll do 24 for our height. And for center, we'll set it to be true. And now let's do set offset. And now for our offset, we're going to reference our display width. We're going to divide that by 4. For our Y, we're going to reference our display height. We're going to divide that by 4, and then we'll just subtract 3. And now when we save, our boss will reappear. It's going to be larger than our player, and now our physics body more accurately represents our boss. Finally, for our boss class, since we have our weapon component, we're going to want to add in our update method, so we can call the update method on our weapon component. So I'm going to jump over to our player class. I'm going to copy our block of code here for our update. Let's paste that down here. Let's remove our colliding objects component, and now let's save. That's it for this part of the series. If you found this helpful, be sure to hit the like button. It really helps out the channel. And if you're following along, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. If you have any questions or want to share your progress, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.